Since the beginning of MLP, the elements of harmony have been essential to the series, and as time goes on, we have learned more about their origin, revealing the Tree of Harmony. In this most recent season, we have seen the tree's power expand and actually reach out and communicate with the Student Six. Then, in the end, actually actively reach out to save them when they and Equestria were in danger. So, what exactly is going on here? And why has its roles changed, and where is this leading? Today, I would like to look into this and see what we can find out. To do this, first I would like to go over what we know about the tree's history. It was created by Star Swirl and the Pillars by infusing a crystal seed with their own magic, and planted it in the castle of the two sisters. There it grew and bore the elements of harmony in their first form. Celestia and Luna took the elements to defeat Discord, who planted plunder seeds to attack the tree, though the tree's remaining magic kept them at bay. The elements were then kept by the sisters until Celestia used them to banish Luna to the moon, and then they were hidden away until the main six found them and became their official bearers, in which the elements took on new forms. Eventually the main six returned the elements to the tree when its magic began running out and the plunder seeds had become active. Upon their return, the tree grew a flower which bloomed into a box, which after being unlocked by earned keys, became Twilight's castle, along with a friendship map which leads ponies where they need to be to resolve friendship problems. Eventually the pillars are returned to Equestria from Limbo, and the elements are taken again to battle this Pony of Shadows, aka Stygian, though in the end they use the elements to save Stygian to prevent the pillars or the elements from being sacrificed, after which the elements are presumably returned to the tree. The MLP movie then occurs and the map expands to include the new locations the main six visited. Later in the season, Queen Chrysalis attacks the tree with the Mean Six, which the tree there destroys. Further down the line, we learn that the roots of the tree have spread under the School of Friendship, and the tree tests the Student Six, who prove friendship is in their nature. Then, in the season finale, it saves the students from being flung into another dimension with Equestria's magic. Looking at that, a lot seems to have happened. So let's start with this. What is the goal of the Tree of Harmony? I know this seems simple. Spread friendship. However, removing spreading friendship from the picture for a moment, the tree isn't a machine, it's a living thing. So it wouldn't be driven by a prime directive to fulfill one purpose like spreading friendship. So let's think about it in a more scientific manner. What is the tree? I mean, what species does it resemble? Thus far, I haven't been able to find any official statement concerning this, so I began looking into the biology of trees to see if a species may give some insight into its behavior. Unfortunately for me, it turns out there isn't much to match it to a real-world counterpart. The tree is made of crystal, so no bark. And though I thought that maybe the trunk's shape would hold an answer, it turns out that the tree trunks of any species can be bent due to several factors while growing. The lack of foliage also makes identification a problem. There are no leaves to compare, and the closest thing are these round crystals in the vines, and these don't resemble any growth in a tree that I could find. The closest thing I could find was Wisteria, which honestly most closely resembles the tree itself. However, Wisteria is a vine, not a tree, and even this tree structure is a vine trained to form a trunk and not a true tree. As such, it is my belief that the tree is not based on a specific real-world tree. Rather, it takes visual elements from different plant species. What we can compare here is plant behavior itself, how plants grow and spread. When vines grow out, they form stolons, typically called running growth. Stolons are nodes that form the bud and stems of new plants, while still connecting to the old plant. Reproduction like this is common in plants. Some trees form new stems out of the trunk or roots called suckers. Several ancient forests are actually formed in this manner, and are a colony that formed from a single plant. However, we haven't seen anything like this from the tree, or have we? Recall, when Twilight and company returned the elements to the tree, a flower budded with a mystery box that eventually became Twilight's castle. We tend to compare the box to a seed, however, that doesn't make much sense in this case. A plant seed would suggest reproduction, but what grew was not another Tree of Harmony, but a castle with a map meant to solve friendship problems. So what if this was not a seed, but something more akin to a stolon or a sucker, a node connected to the original, resulting in new growth? As such, Twilight's castle is less of a new tree but an extension, which makes more sense due to the intrinsic connection to the original. But then, after this, the roots of the tree begin to spreading out. Why is that? Well, for one, we know the tree needs the elements to gain power and will run out without them. However, think of it in another way. Trees need nutrients to grow. The tree is hidden in a cave, so obviously photosynthesis is not how it feeds, and we know it is dedicated to spreading friendship. Add in the map, and a picture begins to form. Look at the dynamics of the elements. 5 of the elements are used to create magic, the central element of the tree, and when the elements are used, the 5 elements pour their power into the central element. Each element gains its power from its bearer, or rather, the element the bearer exhibits. As we see, if the bearers are unable to be true to the element, they fail to work. Thus the 5 elements are actually used to collect honesty, loyalty, generosity, kindness, and laughter, and then transfer them to the central element to convert into magic. When returned to the tree, the relationship remains. However, instead of drawing from the bearers, it could be collecting the elements from everywhere else. This is further supported by the actual range of influence the tree has shown. It is able to affect the whole of Equestria as well as monitor it. So drawing in elements of friendship from all across the land in order to nourish itself is not that far a stretch. It sends ponies to fix friendship problems to create more food for it to feed on. Unlike unreformed changelings, however, this appears to be a symbiotic relationship rather than a parasitic one. The tree doesn't draw friendship out of people like changelings did love, rather it seems to draw in energy radiated from friendship, like the light of the sun. As such, the ponies benefit from friendships created, while the tree gets more light to help it grow. But then we come to the real question. Why is the tree now sentient? Well, there's nothing stating that it wasn't always sentient. Obviously, it was directing the 6 far before it began communicating directly, but why is it reaching out now? Well, we have established that it is acting like any living creature, looking for food, growing, and even seeking to preserve itself, such as when it protected itself from the mean 6. But that leaves one other vital function of all living things: propagation of the species. Remember, though the tree created the map tree, it is not an offspring. The tree originally came from a seed, thus it stands to reason to truly reproduce, it needs to create a new seed. Enter the Student 6, a group of friends the tree tested directly. Why? Because the students represent something the tree needs. Remember in the finale when the students were saved? It wasn't the elements of harmony that saved them. Look at the colors of the magic. We have seen the elements in action plenty of times to know that the magic aura matches the gemstone. However, here, the roots of the tree glow a different colors, the colors of the main 6 coats rather than the gems, and each saves a different individual, indicating that it is the tree reaching out, not the elements themselves. That is because the students are not the main 6. They don't represent the elements of harmony that exist. Recall, the original seed was infused with the pillar's magic: strength, beauty, hope, healing, bravery, and sorcery, which mirrored the elements of harmony we know today. So, there are 2 possibilities here. First, the Student 6 represent the pillars. This is a possibility as Yuna is physically strong, Silverstream is full of hope, Ocellus is capable of changing into beautiful forms, and Smolder is brave. The only 2 in question would be Sambar, who, while certainly kind, we can't yet call a healer, and Gallus, who seems to have been saved by the magenta twilight aspect that would be sorcery, but we know no Griffin spellcasters, so this seems unlikely, though given it was Gallus who first understood the magic circle rather than Ocellus, he may have some potential. The second possibility is that the students represent entirely new aspects. As we know, the pillars poured their magic into a seed, and they became new elements that were destined to be bonded to those they represented them. If this trend continues, then the Student 6 may actually become bearers to entirely new elements that are not honesty, loyalty, generosity, kindness, laughter, and magic, but a new reflection. This actually makes a bit more sense, as if the tree reproduces identical elements, then the new tree that grew would be competing for the same resources. However, if the new tree bears different elements of friendship, ones the old tree does not use but are nevertheless created from friendship itself, it allows the old tree to feed on the element it uses, while there's an excess of unused elemental energy available for the next generation. And by testing and picking out the new bearers, it ensures the new tree will be cared for and guarded. Even the fact that they are different species would be a benefit of the tree as it spreads friendship beyond pony kind, thus creating further nourishment. That said, I can even imagine the tree producing more than one seed. Imagine if 6 seeds are produced, each representing a new element to be planted in each kingdom, and with each student as that tree's bearer and guardian, it would unite all the kingdoms. I mean, face the facts. The series isn't going to go on forever, but that kind of ending would definitely be a good way to wrap it up. But what do you think? What elements do you think the students could represent? Do you think this is a good way to end the series? Please leave any comments below. And until next time, this is Carapace the Changeling, signing out.